welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. My name is Ryan Doze, I am your host, and I am back from vacation, everybody, so we should be getting back to our regular schedule in terms of episode releases. Thank you for being patient with that. We have some great episodes coming up, and we have a great episode coming up today on the show, our second part of our conversation with Jared Sapp. We conclude our latest adventure of Thor versus the Human Cobra and Hyde. And then for the bulk of our time, we talk about the first time that Thor battled the Incredible Hulk in Journey into Mystery. It is a great conversation. We have a lot of fun with it, and I know you will enjoy it. Some ways that you can be helping us out here at the podcast. You can be going to iTunes and Spotify, follow us, subscribe there, rate and review the show wherever you're finding good podcasts. That would greatly help us out, help other people find the show, and it also lets me know what we're doing well on the show and what we can be doing better. So thank you for that. We greatly appreciate your listenership. And some other ways you can engage with us and just keep the conversation going throughout the week after you've listened to the episode is by engaging with us on social media. So for the longest time, we have had an Instagram account. And if you're following us there, thank you. If you've yet to follow us there, go and give us a follow right now. That would be a super easy way to engage with the show. One thing we had talked about a few weeks ago was starting up a Facebook group. For those of you that prefer to use Facebook, I have started that group. So go to Facebook, search Across the Bifrost, and you should be getting results for Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast. Go and join the group. It's a public group. We just ask that you continue the conversation, be positive, don't bring any negativity into that group. We want to keep it as great and awesome as possible for listeners of this show to talk about the characters that they love. So go to Facebook, join the Across the Bifrost Facebook group, and continue the conversation there. Speaking of continuing the conversation, let's jump into the second part of our episode with Jared Sapp from the Marvel Comics 1961 through 1997 Facebook group, where we talk about a titanic battle between Thor and the Incredible Hulk.
Cross the rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the booming heavens roar. You'll behold in breathless wonder the god of thunder, mighty Thor.
Welcome back, everyone, to our throwback series. Today, we are joined again by Jared Sapp, our fellow Thor fan from the realm of Texas. He is here to talk about issues 111 and 112 of Journey into Mystery. Jared, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing great.
We're gonna jump right in because those of you that listened to the last time Jared was on the show, we left on a cliffhanger. We don't know what's going to happen to Jane Foster. We don't know what's going to happen to Thor and the house that's being held out of time. So we will not waste any more time because Jane doesn't have a lot of time, guys. We will jump into Journey into Mystery number 111, entitled The Power of the Thunder God. The creative team for this issue, we're gonna read it as Stan Lee intended it. So the creative team, it was written with the mastery of Stan Lee. It was illustrated with the genius of Jack Kirby. It was delineated with the delicacy of Chick Stone, and it was lettered with the India ink of Artie Simic.
Last time, if that's a slug or not.
I don't really, because last issue he kind of jabbed Art Simic a little bit. This one, it's like I don't know if he's trying to compliment him or not. These introductions to the creative team are just spectacular. I think it's one of the things that Stan Lee did best, was to make these books feel larger than life in the way that they were promoted and worded, and that just played more to Jack Kirby's strength. Jack Kirby, in my opinion, made it look like an adventure you didn't want to miss, and Stan Lee made it sound like an adventure you didn't want to miss. So the creative team on this issue is Marvel Legends and Marvel Standbys. Also, I always like an opportunity to just plug that Chickstone is the greatest name in Marvel Comics. Brief synopsis for this issue of Journey into Mystery is Odin has changed his heart. Oh my goodness! And he is touched. He is touched by his son's fight to save the mortally wounded Jane Foster. While Thor dukes it out on Earth against his foes, Odin summons a healing potion to be created, presumably for Jane. We will find out in the issue. This issue does not feature any key first appearances. All characters that we know, all characters that we love and or hate, depending on your opinion of Loki, Mr. Hyde, and Cobra. We are going to jump into this issue, and we are going to start off with Jared was really drawn to this cover, so I want to hear what Jared thought about the cover of this issue.
The best Thor covers of the time. Just you see Thor fighting Mr. Hyde. The Bifrost is in the background. It looks like somebody's coming to his aid. The coloring is just beautiful. If I was around in the 60s, that would draw me to the book.
Absolutely. It's just standard but spectacular Jack Kirby cosmic grandeur. I believe on the cover, the individual you referenced coming to the aid of Thor is Balder the Brave, because there's a sword on the cover that is swishing down through even the letterbox of the Journey into Mystery with the Mighty Thor masthead. There's a sword shooting down through even that, and it's piercing the veil around Thor and Hyde and Cobra as they fight. Like Jared said, just a spectacular cover, and yes, one of the best covers, I believe, of the Silver Age of Mighty Thor. This is a continuation of last issue, so some of the beginning pages are a little bit of a recap, but we jump right back into the fight between Thor, Cobra, and Hyde, and their fight continues as most of Thor's fights do. There's some tussling, some wrestling, but also another component of this battle is the house itself. The house that they are in is kind of like a trap fun house, and there's tentacles coming out of the ground. Everything is just set up against Thor to lose this battle, and then Thor gets through some traps, and he is given some moments of solace with the mortally wounded Jane Foster, and we're setting up for one of the more sobering bits of dialogue and monologue that we've had so far, but we'll get to that in just a moment. We cut back to Asgard, and Jared, I do want your opinion on this segment of the story when Odin is reminded that, much like Thor, he has once loved a mortal woman. And Balder even sings him a song of a warrior and a maiden who are Odin and this mortal woman who once loved each other. Jared, we kind of know what Odin's deal is. Odin does not like the fact that Thor and Jane Foster continue to thwart his best wishes for his son. What did you think about the inclusion of the story of Odin and the mortal woman that he once loved on page 5?
I think it's a good way to get the story moving. I mean, I think for the time, Thor kind of has more of a soap opera aspect that we see real Marvel and really in the 80s. It's got a very early stage of that. It's much more, I think there's a lot more plot lines that are going from issue to issue than maybe you see in some of the other Marvel books at the time. And I kind of just think they're putting this in there because the creative team is realizing that they've kind of got to have an end game to start moving this along.
Yeah, it's I agree. The with the soap opera aspect of Journey into Mystery maybe compared
and I'm
to...
not saying that in a bad way. It's just there's a lot more of a continuation beyond the monthly pages.
Absolutely. Really, the through line of the early Silver Age adventures of Thor is the relationship with Jane Foster. It goes for years in this book, and the tension between him and Odin as a result is it's very foundational for the character. Even we jump to a few different pages, 6, 7, and 8, where Thor is battling with Hyde and Cobra in again this house of traps, and they're setting these smoke traps for Thor. We'll just move on quickly to the B plot of the issue where Odin has had a change of heart, a slight change of heart. He says to Loki, even although Thor may not take this Earth girl to be his bride, still I have to try and save her from death because of my love for my warrior son. And initially, he gives this note to Loki to go to a healer to find a healing potion for Jane so that she will not die. And all of the gods of Asgard, as Odin leaves the room, they're all like, no way, man. You're not delivering this message because we know you're up to something. And I loved how they all kind of just verbally gang up on Loki. Well, what did you think of that panel on page 9 there, Jared? I thought that was a good little meta moment.
Yeah, I mean, you want to scream at Odin at the time, like, why do you keep trusting Loki with stuff? And
he's giving you no reason to trust him.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly he's the god of mischief. You know he's. Yet Odin keeps giving Loki an audience. He keeps taking his advice, and I just think it's kind of a good reaffirming to the reader that maybe Odin doesn't see this, but the other Asgardians do.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. The gods of Asgard are definitely not. They're not aloof. They're not buffoons. They're on to Loki, and they know that he is not one to be trusted. Balder eventually takes the message all the way to the healer. He goes through different obstacles. There's some great panels of fire and foes and obstacles in his way that are just beautifully drawn. If you can go back through this issue, there's some great Jack Kirby art on Asgard as Balder goes towards the healer. We jump back and forth between Balder's adventure with the note written by Odin, and with Thor and Hyde and Cobra as they continue their fight in the funhouse. I won't stay too long on this part because the culmination is what I really want to get to. When Thor he's come to grips with that he must stop the cyclone that is moving around the house. It's starting to mess with time. It's starting to mess with Earth's dimension, and Thor is he is trapped himself in this. Does he save the woman he loves, or does he do what is right for Earth, for mankind? There is this immense amount of tension that is beginning to build as again on the other panels, Balder rides hard towards the healer's home to find a cure for Jane. Before we get to the last few pages here, Jared, and the culmination of this issue, getting all the way up to this point, did you feel the tension that was building in this issue as I did?
That's the most interesting part of this issue. It's a great fight between villains. We didn't really go into how he defeats the villains. I mean, part of his defeating the villains is the classic 60s supervillain team up issue, that when supervillains team up, they eventually start fighting with each other as much as the hero.
They do, yes, indeed.
I mean, that's pretty in the 60s when a hero has to fight two villains. But the conflict inside, especially on page 15, when he's made peace that he's going to have to lift the time warp and let Jane die, it's just outstandingly written, beautifully drawn.
It's It's you could not be more right, Jared. It's so fantastically written that I feel like it deserves being read in its entirety. So I will proceed and do that. Thor, leaning over Jane, says the following paragraph of text. I must lift the time warp. I dare continue it no longer. I have not the right. Jane, my most dearly beloved, if this be the price you must pay for having won the love of a god, is this what Thor, son of Odin, has done to you? When the time warp is lifted, adored one, I shall again become Dr. Blake, and I shall try to save you with every ounce of skill and strength that I possess. And if I fail, then we both shall die. For my heart will evermore be naught but cold, a withered ember if I should lose thee. And now I do what I must. May Asgard look upon thee with favor, Jane Foster. Just fantastic. Fantastic writing.
And then at the last minute,
Yes.
with the medicine just in time.
And we grasp life we get life from the grasp of despair and defeat. Baldur's sword comes in at the right moment, and Thor's able to go cure Jane. And Baldur even proclaims at the end, "My mission is ended. The girl lives." And Thor could not be happier. Jane and he leave the house where all of this has happened, and we are given a happy ending to this two-part story. And the plans of Loki are thwarted, and Jane and Thor are again together. So I must ask Jared, on this issue, this 111 issue, would you read this or would you leave this?
Oh, we're reading this. This is an outstanding issue.
I could
even
not
if
agree
you have
with you more.
trouble, even if you're not a giant fan, I think anybody who particularly likes Marvel would like these two issues.
Absolutely. I think especially the second issue in the arc, just some of the writing is so good. And I know often with these Silver Age comics, we often laud the art as being the driving creative force in these great stories. But I think sometimes when you get a bit of just transcendent writing that still is able to get an emotional connection out there, like Thor's deathbed speech to Jane. I just think it speaks so much to the creative genius of not just the art, the illustrators, but the writers that were putting together these comics. We come to the end of number 111, and now, honestly, for the rest of the time on this segment with Jared, we are going to talk about something that us as kids and even some of us as adults on our Facebook group that we know each other from, we have debated this issue of Journey into Mystery. It's 112. The Mighty Thor battles the Incredible Hulk. This issue is complete fan service. It is a what if story, but it's canonical. It counts. This story is just a spectacular bit of hero versus hero kind of smash 'em up fun. So not a lot of tender moments of dialogue in this one. Wouldn't you say, Jared?
No.
So here we go. Journey into Mystery number 112. Like I said, the title is The Mighty Thor Battles the Incredible Hulk. The creative team, it's presented a little more humbly this time around. It's written a Stan Lee and Jack Kirby Marvel masterwork. The inking by Chick Stone and lettering by Sam Rosen. We don't get any playful banter in this month's breakdown. The brief synopsis that we get for this issue, again, if the title didn't give it away for you, Thor meets two groups of children who are arguing who is stronger, Thor or the Hulk. Thor tells them a tale of when they battled, and the Hulk the Hulk under an enchanted spell. So so there's no first appearances here. Really, there's only two characters in this issue who really shine through. We have got to talk about this opening splash page. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, it reminded me of when I was a kid and kids would argue about wrestling. And when I was a kid, it was usually who would win between Sting from WCW and The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, whoever was big in WWE.
Absolutely.
And when I was reading this, I was like, why didn't I ever have, Sting's face on a big post to point my things out?
So, listener, dear listener, what Jared is referring to is on this opening splash page. It's almost like West Side Story. You have one side. It's like Thor is stronger than anybody. Thor would mop up the place with Hulk, and the other side is like, nobody can lick the Hulk. First of all, disgusting. But no one can lick the Hulk. No one can beat the green skin of the Jade Giant. And the two groups, I kid you not, have these cutout faces of Thor and Hulk on these big posts. It is so good. We'll put it up on our social media, and you can all enjoy it in its greatness. But this opening splash page is just
and I found it odd Hulk has a fan club, because any story you read from Hulk at the time, when the Hulk comes, everybody runs. Nobody thinks he's a hero.
Exactly. It is odd that Hulk, who is most people who know modern iterations of comics or even movies, Hulk's a hero. He's a misunderstood hero, but he's still a hero. At this point in Silver Age comics, Hulk was not he was not branded as a firm hero.
Yeah.
I mean, he shows up as a villain in many books.
And even the way he's written, when he does something heroic, it's usually because he's going crazy and he's in a rage. And by default, he winds up clobbering whoever the real bad guy is, but not usually out of any heroic intentions, just because that's the way it happened.
Yeah. He's not a very purposeful. His purpose is not to be heroic.
No.
Yeah. So we jump into the story, and here's what I'm going to do. I am going to set the premise of the story, and then Jared and I are just going to talk about some of our favorite panels from here, because really this story is simple. This story is very, very simple. It is taking this childish argument that Thor overhears, and he recalls a moment when he and Hulk did face off one-on-one. The fight that we read in this issue takes place during Avengers issue number 3, when the Avengers face off against Hulk and Namor the Submariner. This fight kind of takes place off panel in Avengers 3. So the children argue back and forth, and Hulk says, "Well, let me tell you, gather around, kids. Let me tell you about a time when I fought the Incredible Hulk." So he tells most of this in a flashback, and the the kids are just pestering him with questions after questions, and they establish that everything that they know about the Avengers story, they kind of recap it. And then Thor on the bottom of page 3 says, "Yes, but there was much more. There was a battle between the Hulk and me, which no one else knew about." So we're getting some behind the scenes information in this issue. And we jump to these just powerful panels, big onomatopoeia sounds, crunching and swooming and banging, and we see the fight between Thor and Hulk unfold, with one major caveat, and then I will hand it over to Jared, and we will just wax poetic about these awesome smash 'em up pages. Thor is, in my opinion, he is arrogant enough to think that he can fight Hulk. He wants to test himself. He wants to test himself without the enchantment of the hammer. So he asks Odin, "Hey, for 5 minutes, I want to test my mettle against the Incredible Hulk." And Odin grants him that really odd request. And so for 5 minutes, the hammer is not this invincible, weapon of an Asgardian god. It's just a hammer. So that is the one caveat. Now, Jared, I hand it over to you, sir, to just tell me some of your favorite panels, favorite moments, favorite lines, speech bubbles from this fight as it unfolded. I would love to hear what jumped out to you.
So I can't remember the issue where Hulk has tried to lift the hammer before, but I think it's hilarious how excited Hulk is that he can lift the hammer when it's no longer enchanted.
Exactly.
And then maybe it was a bad wish because now the hammer is very destructible.
Yes.
And so now it's not, Thor doesn't just have to worry about defeating the Hulk, but he also has to, because he's going to need that in 5 minutes.
I love Thor's reasoning. In one of the thought bubbles, he says, "Without the enchantment, my mallet might be destroyed. I can't let it happen. It was a gift from Odin." Because it's a gift. You're just like,
not because this gives you literally all of your power.
I got it for my birthday. Like I can't. He'll think me irresponsible if the hammer's destroyed. Any other panels in this fight that really jumped out to you, Jared, as it just goes back and forth between these two marvelous, monumental heroes?
I mean, you can almost just read this story without the dialogue.
Very true.
The dialogue's good. The same story is told if you don't read a single word bubble.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of the word bubbles and speech that we get is them just explaining their moves to each other and also just taunting each other.
I love when we get to page 8, when you can see the Asgardians, they're tuning in somehow. Their technology's never really explained that well. Like there's a bunch of people sitting around watching a UFC fight.
Right? Odin's even got a drink in his hand.
Yeah.
My son fights valiantly, as an immortal should, against a most awesome foe. It's you just picture him perched up at a Buffalo Wild Wings watching the latest UFC pay-per-view.
He's drinking ale out of a horn, watching a fight. I mean, it's like happy hour in Asgard right now.
Yeah, it's a testosterone fueled melodrama. As I'm sure as a professional wrestling fan, you're very aware of this. This is definitely a dream fight for the ages. One of the panels that jumped out to me was on page 9. There is a little over a half of a page panel where you see this imposing form of the Incredible Hulk over top of Thor, and you don't see Thor's face, but you see him almost cringing backwards. It almost looks like a panel from a monster comic. And it's just fantastic.
And I'm probably going to lose you some listeners.
Oh no!
Jack Kirby's Hulk is not my favorite. It just never looks to me, especially in the face. It just never looks like Hulk is supposed to look to me.
You know what? I'm gonna lose me some listeners. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
And part of that is because there's Herb Trim and Sal Buscema. I mean, their version is just so synonymous with the character. They spent so many years drawing him. Hulk looks like Frankenstein when Kirby drew him.
Yeah, I almost view him as like a Quasimodo kind of. He's very his forehead is very protruding. His features are just very this sounds ridiculous, but they're very cartoonish. They're almost they're not even human.
And I'm not saying it's bad. It doesn't look like I think the character should look. Like his version would not become the iconic version of the character.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment and a very well stated opinion. We're gonna jump to the end here because the fight concludes with Thor being thrown into a wall, and Thor's the impact of his mighty hands causes a cave in, and Thor goes to search for Hulk, and Hulk has burrowed himself underneath the cavern where they're fighting, and he escapes. Thor rejoins the fight with the Avengers versus Namor, and Namor in his scaly briefs is taken down, and Thor concludes the story to the boys who are listening, and we get to see a little bit of Hulk on the last page, kind of, saying like, "Oh, someday I will defeat Thor forever." But I think my favorite bit of dialogue in this issue is Thor on the last page. He says he's explaining to the boys that they still want to know the answer to who's strongest, and Thor leaves them with a little bit of wisdom. He says, "I leave you with this thought. It is not the one possessing greatest power who is important. It is the one who uses his power wisely in the cause of justice." And I feel like maybe the boys were like, "That's a non-answer. Give us a real answer." But it does feel like the most Thor answer. It does feel like how he would truly answer that question. It almost feels Captain America-esque, very noble and very fueled by justice. But that was just one of the panels towards the end that really jumped out to me. Jared, were there any panels towards the end that jumped out to you? And then we will ask the seminal question of reading it or leaving it.
I think towards the end of the fight where Odin is starting to despair and he says, "Well, I can't give him any more time." When I'm reading this, I'm like, why? Over the years,
Right?
I've seen you bend every rule you've ever made time and again, but this is the one time that you just can't do anything.
Right. It did feel a little odd reading that. It's saying only scant seconds remained. I cannot give my son more time than
why?
he has requested. And what if you did?
Yeah.
What if you did? What, is someone going to put you in Asgardian god jail? Like, no. That was a little bit of a logical inconsistency there for the god of Asgard and the master of the nine realms to say. We have come to the most important question that we ask on Across the Bifrost in our Journey into Mystery episodes. Jared, issue 112 of Journey into Mystery, The Mighty Thor Battles the Incredible Hulk. Would you read this or would you leave this?
Oh, you got to read this.
Absolutely, right. To a novice listener, maybe someone who is not deeply steeped in Silver Age Thor comics, why do you recommend to read this?
So I think a lot of modern readers don't like to go back to these issues just because of how wordy they are. I mean, this one, there's maybe 12 panels in the whole issue that you really have to read to understand the story that great.
Agreed. Very simple story.
The art tells the story so well in this issue.
I agree, and I think that perfectly sums up why this issue is it's just a fun read. It's just a fun comic to kind of. This one was the quickest read for me because I was just like, yeah, cool. It flows well. It's a very
don't go try to read Avengers 3 and try to figure out where it fits in. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's
unless he's got that. Unless he's also used his hammer to put a time warp around where he and Hulk are, and nobody realizes they're gone. There's no way it makes sense in the context of that issue, but it's a very fun read.
Well, true believers, we may never know the answer to the mysteries that Jared has brought to the forefront of our minds. That concludes issue 112 of Journey into Mystery. I want to thank Jared for joining us both last episode and on today's episode. Jared, thank you for hopping on and talking some awesome Silver Age comics with me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Hope to be back.
Okay, sir. Have a great rest of your day. that will do it. That wraps up our show today. I hope you enjoyed the second part of this conversation with Jared. He was an awesome guest to have on, and we just had a lot of fun talking old comics and just everything that went into Thor battling the Incredible Hulk, the silliness of it, and we just appreciate his time. Thank you, Jared. You were awesome. Hope to have you back sometime very soon. Friends, you can go to all of our social medias and interact with us. Continue the conversation there, whether it's on Instagram, follow our account there at Mighty Thor Podcast, or go to Facebook and join our brand new group, Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor Podcast. Continue the conversations there. Meet some other Thor fans. Have some great interactions between each other. And we'll also put up some stuff about upcoming episodes and just what's happening in the world of our podcast and what's happening in the world of Thor. We got a lot of great stuff planned. Our next episode is going to be the second volume of Tales of Asgard. Yes, Professor Thor Extraordinaire Chris Eberly is coming back to the show to talk about more Tales of Asgard, the backup stories that really expounded on the world of Asgard that were found in Journey into Mystery. We are so excited to have him back. It was a great conversation. I cannot wait to share it with you. That will be coming out next week, Monday morning. We're going to get back to our regular schedule next week because, like I said, I am back from vacation. I'm ready to rock and roll. We are ready to have an awesome fall here on the podcast. Like I said at the beginning, we've got some great stuff in store for you. I cannot wait for you to continue this journey aboard the Rainbow Bridge. So until we meet again aboard this Rainbow Bridge, aboard this Bifrost, I encourage you, friends, dear listeners, to stay worthy.